Good morning, Ian Crouch with your 8:30 Hunter News update. The number of people being treated for COVID-19 in the region's hospitals has halved in the past couple of weeks. There were more than 2,000 new cases reported in the Hunter New England Health District yesterday. Just over 1,000 tested positive through PCR tests and 958 took rapid antigen tests. While case numbers are mostly steady, the number of people being treated in our hospitals has fallen significantly, with 55 currently compared to 116 in mid-January. The long-awaited expansion of Newcastle's art gallery is set to go ahead, with the state and federal governments agreeing to fund the remaining $10 million needed for the project. Both levels of government will commit $5 million each to the $40 million expansion. Construction of the 1,600 square metre expansion is set to get underway next week, and the gallery will close for 2 years to allow the work to be completed. The federal and state governments will also announce $10 million in funding for a major redevelopment of the historic Maitland Jail. The money will go towards an upgraded entry and new cafe with interior access to the jail and boutique accommodation inside the heritage site. Council hopes the improvements will allow the tourist attraction to become financially viable within 5 years. 13 University of Newcastle projects will share in more than $5 million from the Australian Research Council. Funded projects will look into areas such as chemical water splitting for clean energy generation and the stability of rock slopes and the threat to infrastructure. Anthropologist Dr. Hedda Askland's team will explore the future and consequences of mining voids abandoned across the Hunter Valley. She says in some cases the research findings go straight back into the region.
It's a challenge for industry and for government and for community to, who now have these future voids that we don't know what's going to happen with. And one thing we don't know much about is how we as a community, as the people of the Hunter, relate to these holes, how we think about them and how we want to see this landscape change into the future.
Hunter motorists can expect to pay through the nose for petrol in coming weeks as global problems put pressure on supplies. We're seeing premium fuels selling for up to 210 cents a litre in Newcastle and Lake Macquarie. Economists say global demand for fuel is pushing up prices as countries come out of COVID restrictions. Singleton Council is developing a fully funded hospitality skills pilot program aimed at matching newly skilled staff with local employers. The program will match 10 participants with 10 local employers in order to address staff shortages in the area. Acting General Manager Vicky Brereton says in the current economy, the program's more important than ever.
We do have a survey out currently until the 18th of February, so that's allowing us to understand what the training needs are, but also give us an indication of what businesses might be willing to participate. But we have a really great relationship with our local businesses, so we're confident we'll get lots of people on board.
Up to $70,000 in grants is available to Hunter agricultural shows and field days who faced cancellations due to the pandemic. Events can also claim for costs incurred last year. Lion MP Dr. David Gillespie says it's time to get ag shows back on track.
We need to support the agriculture shows and field days because the last year's show is the cash flow for the next year, and COVID wiped out 2 years of income for many of them. I know across the whole Hunter there are many ag shows and field days that have been severely limited because of the COVID restrictions.
2NURFM Sport.
The Knights have been forced to head home just 10 days into a 3-week training camp in northwest New South Wales after multiple players and staff tested positive for COVID. Players and staff returned to Newcastle yesterday after positive test results to several key personnel made it impossible to continue. CEO Phil Gardner says the camp was still a valuable exercise despite being cut short. Meanwhile, club legend Andrew Johns is confident Kalen Ponga will take his game to new heights this season after working closely with the star fullback on new game plans. Newcastle cricket captain Nick Foster will play his 50th match at the New South Wales Country Championships this Sunday against the Central Coast. The Stockton all-rounder says he's proud to still be able to represent Newcastle after debuting as a 17-year-old. Hunter athlete Rose Davies has defended her 10-kilometre title at Melbourne's Lakeside Stadium. The win sees Davies move one step closer to qualifying for the World Athletics Championships in July. And Newcastle footballer Emily Van Egmond has scored the first goal in the Matildas' 2-1 win over Thailand.